So today, I would like to talk to you about two major defeats that I have experienced the last 17 years, always and again. But before I do it, I just want to start with you guys. So if you go just back, let's say on Monday, what have you done? Maybe you've gotten up, you brought your kids to school, you went to the office, you went to a restaurant, you went back to the office, you went back home. And what have you done yesterday? You've gotten up, you went to the conference, you went to the restaurant, you went home, or you went back to the hotel. So in the end, what you're doing, you live in real estate. The whole day, you live inside real estate. So ask yourself, when have you been outside of real estate for, let's say, 12 hours? Camping. Wrong country, even in the Netherlands. Who's from the Netherlands? Yeah, you do it much more often than other people maybe. So let's see, when have you been outside a real estate or a caravan, a trailer for 6 hours or 3 hours? Maybe summertime last year. So we always live in real estate. You see some numbers here, which are ticking just for a minute or two. I would like to say what is just happening this minute. The first number you see, this is the number of emails that are written worldwide. Counting pretty quick. The next thing, this is the number of likes on Facebook, which are just done these minutes, worldwide. And the next thing, the biggest number, this is the energy that only Switzerland uses this minute. So this is our consumption. So 8 million people just this minute. And it's the biggest one. And what really drives me a little bit crazy since years, and there I come to the first defeat that I'm experiencing. Nobody really cares. So with 8 million people consuming 11 billion Swiss francs for energy, or $11 billion, sorry, I was calculating this in US dollar, in a building park which is worth 3 trillion US dollar. So those are the numbers for this little country, only 8 million people living there. And if you just think about the energy, every energy that is produced in Switzerland, or is coming into the country, almost half of it is just going to housing. So the rest, the 50%, they are industry, they are flying, they are going by car, they are everything, but half of it is really what we consume in buildings. It's pretty much, and I claim nobody cares. And I would like to test it with you. Is there anybody who dares to say, well, I like driving around, I like my Hummer, consuming whatever I would like, please raise your hands. Come on, be honest. There's no video, nothing. Okay, let's say, are there guys who say, yes, I care a little about energy, but it also needs to be comfortable? Raise your hands. Okay, so now you're in the middle. And now let's see at the top players. Who's really taking care about his carbon footprint? Who's really taking care? Okay, so now the top ones and the middle ones, raise your hands. And I make a test with you. Just assume I step up at you and I say, you can have this Porsche Cayenne for 1 year. Would you decline? If you reject, lower your hand. You're up, the rest stay open. Stay up. Okay. So less people there. And now imagine, your favorite musician is stepping up at you and saying, hey, come on and join me for my flight in my Super Trooper Iron Maiden 747. Is there somebody who would reject? Wow. So please step up at me at the end of my talk. I put down your numbers. I will call Bruce, so next time he's calling you if you really would like to join him. So you see what I mean. I think you get the point. So energy and comfort, well, energy is not so important than comfort. This is the first defeat. The second defeat, before I introduce this, I should say what I'm in, what my business is, this traditional business. And this traditional business is about buildings. It's building automation, it's the construction of buildings. And to give you there an impression what's behind all the walls, all behind the room that we're using, I would like to show you there a little video which is just saying that, what it's all about. Okay, so this little film is just about building management software. This is what we're doing in energy management software. So building management software means you just see all what the buildings are doing, how they behave, and where all the, in the end, your money flows, the 11 billion Swiss francs. And the other part of it is really energy management. You can see where all the things are going to, where the medias are going to, how they evolve from electricity to cooling, to air conditioning, and so on. And believe me, there are a lot of data around in these buildings. So almost every building, every office building has something like this, and there are a lot of data around. And now the next question to you. If you just imagine an office building like the one on the right-hand side, how many data sets do you have in a building the year? What would you say? Just an assumption. Is it more than 5,000, 10,000 data sets a year? What would you say?
More, yeah.
Yeah, just say a number.
Oh, I have to say a number. 2 million.
2 million. More? Less? Anybody else? Come on. It's an auction. 50 million. Yeah, that's even better. It's more than almost half a billion data sets that you get from such a building normally. So for an office building, a mid-sized office building, we have numbers like 450 million each year just for the building. And if you have a residential building like this one, it's a little bit less. It's approximately 80 million data sets the year. So in comparison to this, LoRaWAN is a little bit smaller, the bandwidth, what you can acquire. But however, it's a lot of data, and the problem is then really, what are we doing with this data? So now the question is, in a non-LoRaWAN business, how do you do it? How do you acquire such data? So there are protocols out there, they are standardized protocols where you can get all these plans online. And what we are doing all day long is somehow integrate all those things that we means you start easy and you add services. So the services, they already came up in our industry in the building automation. So in former times, we just did like very big things, very big hardware, very big racks. And today, we're just moving to the clouds in 3 years. The complete industry, it's not only us. And we're just adding those small, very little devices. So that means we can get almost every building online in pretty short time. Now it comes to the point where we have LoRaWAN. And maybe just to round it up what we were doing, you maybe have seen this one at the beginning of the conference. Those have been some sensors that we just spread here at the conference. Now the question is, what are we doing with all this data? We now have the data, that's wonderful, that's awesome, it's working, and now the question is, what are we doing with it? And there we're going. What the industry is starting to do is doing this automated analysis. That means all those 450 million data sets that we have every year, and over the years, we make profiling, we just make automated analysis of it all. So that means the building behavior. And the problem is, it's not a car where you can say it's a series. Every building is different, and also the usage of it is very different. So what we have to do there is really make analysis, and in the end, what we're presenting is then the path. That means if you're getting better or if you're getting worse, and this independent from climate implications. And this is the only thing what we have seen is working on the market, because in the end you can show an economist, a portfolio manager, how his whole portfolio is working. By the way, this is BKW. It's like Vattenfall or E.ON in Germany, so they're a very big electricity company in Switzerland. Yeah, what they can do with it is they have saved $34,000 a year. The investment was just like 10,000, so it was a payback of very, very fast. But the problem is, and there come to the point, nobody cares. So it was a hard fight there. You can save money, but really nobody really cares. And this is the second defeat. Product innovations in the company that I'm working for, or let's say the industry I'm working for, building construction. There's a very nice chart, and this nice chart was done by our government, just saying who are the innovators in our country and who are the losers. Now, let's take a look at this. This is machine, this is electricity, this is chemistry, ICT services, everything, nutrition, of course. You have pharma, you have retail. other industries, everything else. You have metal, you have other services, and there we are, construction. I'm proud to say we are really in the field, we are the market where, let's say, we have the least product innovations by the sector in this by, yeah, I would say, really the last and the least on this list. And the second thing is what we are doing each year, 10%. So 10% of every Swiss franc being produced in the country itself is really going to this sector, is going to building. It's going to building construction. Yeah, what does this mean? With the cloud, for example, we have started in 2003, so 2013 it came up to the market that really people were accepting it. So we have to wait 10 years for an innovation to get there on the market. And let's say let's assume I have a cool idea today, like something with LoRaWAN, and I would like to get this on the market. I have to wait for 10 years. And just imagine me, how I look like in 10 years. I would say I look like this, sitting somewhere in the Alps and making ads for cheese or for chocolate or for Bitcoin accounts. I have no idea what I'm doing, but definitely I will look like this. Okay, so now, what does this chart say? What can I do? Let's make it an academic approach. So now, just leave this one here, the construction out there, and see where the average is, the average innovation. The average innovation in Switzerland is 55%. It means half of for every company you have in Switzerland, from very small to very big, half of it, they are doing cool things, they're inventing things. So now, what does this mean? I should step outside my aquarium, I should go to the bus stop down the street, or I could go to an IT conference and talk about that with guys, and they are they're 4 times more innovative than I stay inside my own business, inside the building industry. And now the question is, yeah, what does this mean? In other words, it means we just have to go not only inside the plants where we are, so behind the scenes, behind the wall, we have to go where you live. And we have to connect this with where your money flows. And there come to the point, LoRaWAN offers there a very big possibility to us, and this already was proven. But there are always some reasons not to do it. And the reasons not to do it, that you go before the wall, and especially if you argue with a building owner, is there's always no budget, there's always a very poor user experience, there's always technical obsolescence. That means after 3 or 4 years you can throw things away. Data and privacy, this is what we're hearing, or it's too complex. And now you could not address this a couple of years. If you do WLAN, if you do other stuff, Zigbee and so on, you always need somebody to configure something. But what you can't do is you cannot just stick it to the wall and it's working. And this is what LoRaWAN has offered to us. So we have made some experiments with the Things Network, of course, and also with our national carrier, it's Swisscom. And what we were saying, and now we had to move from technology to advantages, was that we say to the tenant, we say how comfortable you have it and how healthy. I'm not talking about energy, by the way. I'm talking about how healthy his climate is. And for the other side behind the walls, automation and, of course, the building behavior, so that we really see if the building is performing better or is performing worse. So what we have done, we've stepped up with Miromiko. It's a company at Zurich. Alex, where are you? Is there somewhere? There he is. And just say, hey, let's make a check, let's make a demo. And also we know those radio communication from other, let's say, things like an ocean and so on, and our experience wasn't very good. So we were trying, we have applicated this one. This was a dipole antenna, just very glued together pretty quickly. After that, we came with this one. There was a chip antenna afterwards. They didn't well very properly for us, so it was just a range of 600 meters or 700 meters, so it didn't went that far. And what we're doing then, we have just designed the perfect antenna and built it ourselves. And this looked like that. But it was working, so all of a sudden we had a range of 7 kilometers. But of course, it's not something you can industrialize. This is not working. But it was reference antenna, our kind of reference design in the field, where we're just testing against the next, the next design that we have done until the design what we have today. Yeah, and then we somehow had to convince people to use it. And of course, the use case is pretty simple. Go to the basement wherever you are, and just go to the other side of the building wherever you are, and try to get a connection. So I've summed up together all the steel and the concrete in between. It is a lot of steel and a lot of concrete in between. And this was the first thing that we have learned. It's really working, and that was awesome. And after that, we had to check it more, because now we have placed a TTN gateway in the building, and this one was working. So we had to check it out, how this works. And also we had to check out with Swisscom, the other carrier. By the way, Mark, welcome. Thank you very much for joining. What we did is we just went there. This is somewhere in the Alps. It's about 1,100 meters there. And the perfect thing is you can just look at on the map if it's working or not. So there's the glacier. There's the place where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle has written this about this guy called, how was the name? Sherlock Holmes, where he died. There are the waterfalls. Now you just bring it there, and where's the antenna on top of the waterfalls? Yeah. So whenever you go to Switzerland, go to the glacier and go to the antenna. It's sightseeing. Yeah, and of course we had to challenge, this was with Swisscom, so the national carrier, they have a LoRaWAN network, works outside the city very well. Inside, of course, we've done a lot of experience with TTN, also the sensors that we have here, also the sensors we've deployed are with TTN. But we also had to challenge TTN. And there the question was, because the density at Zurich is very high. We have, I don't know how many gateways in the city, I would say 50. 96, okay, double. So 96 gateways in the moment. So we had to challenge this, and we had to go to a place where there's no gateway. And can you imagine a place like this? Not the Mars. Well, we have mountains, we have chocolate, we have cheese, and we have water. And this is where we are going to, so that we have placed an antenna, an indoor antenna, somewhere next to the lake. And from there, we just went further, and have taken a look on how long we can go with an IoT sensor. I'm not driving Hummer there, so don't worry about this. This was a very ecological way to test it. It was quite fun, really, believe me. Okay, yeah, so afterwards, what did we do? We just said, explore it yourself, and maybe you have seen it. We have just made this as a kind of giveaway, and I hope I can somehow show it to you. So it's nothing there but a QR code. This QR code brings you to a web page, and if you go over it, like this one here, one sec. Yeah, just this one brings you to a web page. Where you see this a little bit augmented. So this is just done for, let's say, the sake of having a gimmick. And after all, what the argument is you can see where your comfort is. So I would say right now it's not very comfortable at the moment, so it's a little bit warm in here. And people start to play with it. So they try to monitor their flats. They were just going to the offices. They were playing around with it. And this was the reason for it all. So what we have done is with this gimmick, so in the end it's just a gimmick, we have spread it at a conference. It was called the World Web Forum at Zurich, a lot of attendees, and from there it just really went the way. We had a lot of likes, also internationally, so 2 distributors have stepped up. And the question for us is what we're doing right now, and I think you get the point. We're not talking about energy, we're just talking about how healthy your climate is. Because if it's getting warmer, humidity is dropping, and this is not healthy. But if you have less temperature, your humidity is climbing, and it's healthier. That's the point behind it. So what we are doing right now, we go with this into production, but there's a but. We make it as a non-profit thing. So that means we make it as inexpensive as possible. And the other thing what we are doing, for free, we make it for free forever for all non-commercial applications. So that means if you're a little bit wondering how your climate is and you would like to get into how much energy you're consuming, you can have it for very cheap money. That's the idea. And you will have it for free forever for all non-commercial applications. And if it comes to my market, you know, these 10 years, maybe it's just only 5 years when it has acceptance on the market. Then when it's getting commercial, it will cost something to those applications. Yeah, what else can we do? We had to deliver just some hundreds of those sensors. So for the World Web Forum, we just had 100 giveaways, and we had to commission them. So that means to program them. And since Switzerland is not very, let's say, inexpensive in terms of wages, we had to do this very quickly. So what we've done, we've glued together a commissioner that looks like this, which is commissioning the complete sensor, programming it, and also, adjusting all the data on the Things network. So if somebody also would like to have it, it generates an AR user interface, so the Augmented Reality user interface. And yes, as I said, it registers with the network and does all the checks. So that means it programs, there's a button at the bottom of the sensor, you press it, and if everything works all right, you have something here which is green. And for those ones of you guys who would like to somehow bring a sensor to the market, if you like, we could do it open source. So if somebody would like to have the software, just write me a mail or step up with me, so no problem, we could do this open source. Yeah. And last but not least, we have asked ourselves, what can we do more? And there we have this augmented reality. This was also something to explore a little bit, how this thing is working. If you have a cutting-edge device, so you can also have this for free. What we offer you is that we integrate your payload, that you get the augmented reality user interface for free and free services. And why we're doing this, really, believe me, since 17 years I'm working in my branch, I'm really kind of getting, how should I say, in nice words, not amused about, let's say, the innovation process and the speed which is there. So if you're in the industry where you also have, let's say, the necessity to speed up innovation, we would like to offer you to have this for free. Check it out. Maybe you find there's somebody else who convince guys much more easy. Yeah, having this said, I would say thank you very much for your attention. There are 3 minutes left if you have questions. Otherwise, thanks for listening.
Yes, any questions? Nobody? Come on. Nobody has questions? Then, maybe at the back? Okay, I can come.
Question concerning the gateways installation inside the buildings. Did Swisscom do that, or how did you manage the in-building network installation?
So there we've done two things. Number one is with the Things network. So there we've deployed some gateways. It's a couple of gateways. Also with BKW, it's our gateways we have deployed there. By our, I just mean we have bought it, but they are the Things network's gateway. So they are on the community, they are crowd gateways. For Swisscom has installed there the gateways. There's a platform that you register with, and this one is working from outside the building. So the whole story is we have spread sensors in terms of to colleagues, to friends all over Zurich, and this was working inside buildings and also underneath, so at the in the basement for both for Swisscom and for TTN. If it comes to a part where it's very critical, like I was just showing the one slide, there you need to have a gateway there in the building, and this is what we have done with the Things network.
Different networks.
Yes, there are two different networks, exactly. They're using the same technology in the end, but there are two different networks and two different integrations that you have there.
Okay. Any other questions? Yep, at the front.
In that building on the picture, how many gateways did you deploy specifically?
So because this is where we are located at, so this is the headquarters, we have started with 4, and after that we just have 1. And the one got burned for whatever reasons, I don't know, so it wasn't working any longer. So then some were dropping, and because there are a lot of gateways around, it was still working. And the whole truth about the LoRa conference is there. So I had Winke also as a speaker, and we were deploying this. So I was bringing my own gateway there, and there again, the second gateway got burned that day. But we were just that lucky in the city because coverage is that awesome that really it was no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Nobody? Then I guess we can wrap it up, and thank you very much for this presentation.